So last week we ended with text 20 of chapter 4, where Krishna is describing uh, a great personality or a Mahatma. And what is he like? Abandoning all attachments to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. That means even though they do all kinds of activities that a common man does, but a great personality is not attached to any of the results of his, and he's ever satisfied and independent. So my satisfaction, or a great person, their satisfaction is not dependent on the outcome. Their satisfaction is dependent on the fact that they've given their 100% for a higher purpose, right? So I've done my best in giving the exam. I've done my best in running my business. I've done my best in being a father or a husband or a wife or a daughter or a son or whatever it is, that I'm doing my duties perfectly, 100% to my ability, right? That's where the satisfaction comes in, not from what the outcome is, because the outcome is something I don't have control over. I have control over what I can do, right? So one stays independent, one stays ever satisfied, and performs, no fruitive action. That means fruitive means fruit, right? That means anything that has a fruit that doesn't do anything for a certain adoration, name, fame, and all of that. Because when you do something for name, fame, adoration, and you don't get it, you get unsatisfied, you get unhappy, you get distressed, depressed, etc. Right? But when you do it, like I'm doing my 100% because this is the right thing to do, and this is my duty. So let's say I'm a CEO of a company, and my duty to make sure there's cash flow positive. It is the best in its field. It makes the best products. The customers get the most customer satisfaction. That's my duty, and I want to make sure I do my 100% to involve my team in getting those results. But will it happen or not is not in my control. That doesn't mean I'm not planning for the best results. I'm planning and I'm doing 100% for the best results, but I'm not attached to it. If something goes wrong, I'm not like, oh, how could this happen? It's more in terms of like, okay, let me fix it, right? So one's attachment and detachment defines one's happiness. Because if you're detached and you do your work 100%, then whatever the outcome is, you're like, okay, there's more work to be done, either this way or that way, right? But if you're attached, you're like, oh, you're wasting time now. How could this happen? God is unfair and people are terrible. And then you blame this person and you blame that person, and everybody's wrong, but I am right. And, it's not my fault that this happened. And all of that happens from an attached perspective. But from detached perspective is, okay, let's introspect. Here is the outcome. Let's take it to the next level. Or we couldn't reach the right outcomes. Let's figure out what went wrong. Let's fix it and let's try one more time. Right? Under proper guidance. That's the important part, that there is a guidance factor. It's not whimsical. It's not decision making that's based on speculation. It's based on expert guidance, both materially and spiritually. Right? Materially, you should have guidance for your career, for your skills, for if you're taking courses. That's why we have professors and teachers. But spiritually also, we should have experts who can guide us in the right direction, so that we can get both the benefits, material as well as spiritual. In fact, if we are spiritually stable, material happiness is almost bound to come. But if you're materially happy, that doesn't mean spiritual happiness is bound to come, because then it's kind of like saying that externally I wear a good jacket, but that doesn't mean my heart is soothed, right? I might be a very sad person wearing a Gucci or Armani, which happens all the time, or riding a Ferrari, but internally I'm a sad person. But if you're a happy person, regardless of what you drive, you're happy. You still get from point A to point B, right? So that's the idea. I think Harry had a question about this. Let me quickly see. Then what should be motivation for work? Motivation. Okay, let me ask you, Harry. Do you have a way of unmuting yourself?
Yes, I got one.
Okay, good. So what is your motivation for work, Harry?
Um, eh, Currently is the result, that our business can lead our life, the financial freedom that business can actually bring our life. And of course, I do enjoy it. That's secondary, but I guess the primary is the freedom that my business could actually bring into my
And are
life
there
and my
months
business.
that when you don't get the revenue goal that you have planned for?
Of course, I get sad, I get depressed.
That's the point I'm talking about. When the motivation is based on the outcome, then the outcome has a remote control to your happiness or distress. But when the motivation is I have done my 100% and this is for the pleasure of Krishna, Krishna is smiling. That's my motivation, right? You understand? There's a difference between the two. One is Krishna is smiling and he acknowledges that what I'm doing, I've done my 100% without fail. The other part is, oh, I want to get this goal and I didn't get this goal. So that goal, whether it happens or not, I'm happy or sad. So you're just giving away your happiness to something else or someone else.
Hmm.
It could be recognition. Your boss says, wow, good job. Or your customer says, great. Or customer doesn't say anything. Right? But regardless, if you have done a good job, you should be satisfied. I have done my part. I've done my duty. And so Krishna, so who's sitting in my heart as super soul, as Paramatma, he is happy.
Hmm.
And that's the goal of my life, is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because when he is happy, he reciprocates and that makes you happy. And that happiness might not be visible to outsiders, but internally, you're fully satisfied. Does it make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
But unless you realize the happiness of pleasing Krishna, it will always feel like the financial freedom or whatever that outcome you're talking about is the tangible happiness that I can see it. But the Krishna happiness I cannot understand. So once you get slowly trained, and it's not like it's this or that. What happens is today it's 10% Krishna, 90% something else. And tomorrow is 20% Krishna, 80% something else. And the 20% gives you so much happiness that you get that taste and I want to get more and more of that taste.
Hmm.
Krishna, this is for you. The adoration that comes, Krishna, this goes to you. The money that comes, Krishna, this is your money. Let me use it in a proper way with that mood of detachment. Otherwise, it's my money and pride and all the illusion that comes with pride that comes in. And then because it's my money, I can do whatever with it. Or I'll never, spend a dime of it. I'm going to keep it because it's my hard work, right? Some people do this or some people do that. But regardless, it's because you're thinking it's your money. That's why both of those mentalities happen. But when it's Krishna's money, you spend it wisely in a dutiful way for the right things.
Hmm.
It's Krishna's. You've given me the intelligence, the ability to do it. Does it make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
Sure. So 21. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence, perfectly controlled, giving up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus, working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. So, such a person who's working in that kind of way is fully sense controlled, gives up proprietorship. That's the sannyas, is giving up the mindset of proprietorship. That this is Krishna's house, this is Krishna's money, this is Krishna's living entities, right? Just because there is a goat roaming around, that doesn't mean I can just go kill it and eat for my food, right? Or just because there's a a 5 rupee note or a 10 rupee note, I cannot just pick it up because it's no one's property, so it's my property. It's Krishna's, everything around us. So that proprietorship mentality, it's getting so renunciation or sannyas or what is this giving up? What do we give up? We give up that mentality of proprietorship. This is my, I and mine. My family, I'll take care of. My community, I'll take care of. My countrymen, I'll take care of. What Bhagavad Gita teaches us is not about I and mine. When you understand Krishna, then Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world is your family. All living entities are part of the same source, right? The trees, you take care of the environment, you take care of your family, you take care of somebody else's family, you take care of the poor people, you take care of whoever you can take care of. Your love is not divided between skin color, between caste, between country. Your love is there for every single living entity, because we are all part of the same family. All has one father, Krishna, right? So that's what Krishna is teaching us here. That such a man of understanding acts with his mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, giving up all sense of proprietorship. India is my country, America is not. No, it's all Krishna's country, and it's all Krishna's property. And being a follower of Krishna, I want to protect, you know, people. I want to protect dharma. I want to protect trees. I want to protect water. I want to turn off the lights at the right time. Conserve water, regardless where I'm in America, China, India, Japan. It doesn't matter, right? It's all Krishna's. It's called Prabhupada used to call it spiritual communism, because communists believe that the state owns everything, and we believe that Krishna owns everything. So everything should be used for Krishna's service, right? So spiritual communism that way. Okay, there are some questions. Let me quickly check. Loved the point. Wow. Glad Kapil. Shashank Joshi. Good evening. I have experienced disappointment after trying to be nice and live up to the expectations of others. Eventually, there is a feeling that I should surrender myself to the Supreme Lord by becoming a sannyasi. Please guide. Thank you. Um, you can be a sannyasi in suits inside a Ferrari. The sannyasi, like this verse is teaching us, it's not about the externals. Surrendering to Krishna is a requirement, but that doesn't mean you have to give up everything. You just have to give up the mentality of proprietorship. And being nice to people is without the expectation of they will be also nice to you. Be nice anyway, because it pleases Krishna, right? Just be nice to people. Be nice to dogs. Be nice to cows. Be nice to snakes also, because they're all living beings, part and parcel of Krishna. They are a soul just like you in different bodies. So be nice to everyone, but don't expect them to be nice to you. A snake won't be nice to you. A scorpio won't be nice to you. A mosquito won't be nice to you. But that doesn't mean you unnecessarily cause pain and suffering to them, right? But that doesn't also mean you go hug a snake. No, you don't do that. But you respect them from distance. But you love your best friend, you might hug your best friend, from close. So you have to use your intelligence, but the mentality is what is important in terms of sannyas, right? So you've been nice to people, and expectations of others, eventually there is so surrender to Krishna in the sense that, Krishna, I'm doing this for you. I'm being nice to people, or I'm doing spending my time, I'm doing the right thing for you. Nobody's watching, and I can be stealing, I can be doing all kinds of mischiefs, but I'm not doing it because I have regard for you. You trust me, you put me here, you've given me the right resources. I want to use these instruments in a proper way so it pleases you. That is the relationship we're building here with Krishna. You understand? Just like your father. I remember I had my first bank account was opened when I was in class 8, and first access to a debit card I got. And with that, I went and bought a diamond ring for my mother. She was upset that, why you wasting money? But later on, she appreciated that, instead of buying something for myself, I bought something for her. And generally, kids at that age, my friends were doing all kinds of things with that, the pocket money they would even get. And I had access to a lot of money through a debit card at class 8. And the first thing I did was I bought something for my mother, right? So that's love. And that's what Krishna is looking for. We can be eating food without offering to Krishna, and that's totally okay. But when we offer it to Krishna, it's not like Krishna is a hungry man, he's a poor man who doesn't have food. Lakshmi Devi is personally cooking for the personality of Godhead. But it's love. That, Krishna, you have given me this, I'm offering it back to you out of love. Just like a child with the parents' money buys them chocolates. This is for you. This is my gratitude. Or makes a drawing greeting card, right? So similarly, we're building that relationship with Krishna, where, my dear Krishna, this is for you out of gratitude. Living a life, they say, attitude of gratitude. Gratitude to who? Gratitude to Krishna. So gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, doesn't give up the possessions, gives up all sense of proprietorship over the possessions, right? And acts only for the bare necessities of life. Now, this could be misunderstood also. So, bare necessity for life for a Brahmana who is a priest is very little, right? For a scientist, it might be a little bit more. For a politician, it might be a lot more. For an entrepreneur, it might be even more than that, right? Um, just like, for example, a CEO, they have a whole office of secretaries. Right? There's a secretariat where there's all these people, secretary of this and PA and this assistant and that assistant. There's a whole office for them to just take care of the needs of the CEO of a big company, right? So that's the need. That's a bare necessity for them. So every person, now what happens now when you look at certain Saudi prince, they have like 56 Rolls Royce and 100 Ferraris, and then that's obviously overkill. Yeah, they are kings and they have all the money in the world, but do they really need so many cars, hundreds of cars? um, for a family of I don't know how many wives and how many kids they have. Yes, they have big families, no doubt. But what I'm saying is sometimes it's overkill, and you would know what is overkill. And that's why we have gurus, right? Who can tell us, hey, this you're trying to rationalize, and this is actual need. So spend wisely, take wise decisions, right? Don't overdo things, right? Because this is not yours, it's Krishna's. So we should intelligently use our resources, for the right purposes. Okay. Hare Krishna to all. Ruffle. Loving your explanation. Prayas, if I chant 16 rounds every day, can I escape Maya? It certainly helps to escape Maya. But what 16 rounds does is it's more about controlling your mind, because a Maya is hiding in your mind. Your uncontrolled mind is where her biggest weapon lies. So if you can control that weapon and Krishnaize that weapon, right, then you can use your controlled mind in service to God and humanity. Uncontrolled mind will always say, I want this, and distract you and waste your time. So that's important to understand that with chanting 16 rounds, you're purifying your mind, your consciousness, Krishna's holy name. Whenever you touch anything with Krishna related, it purifies you. Just like, why do we sprinkle Ganga water or Yamuna water? Because it purifies us the place. So just like the sunlight, it can fall, the same sunlight is falling on seawater or urine or any water, and it distills, makes the water distilled water, because just by touching of the sunlight. Similarly, touching of Krishna cleans the consciousness, right? So when we are smelling a flower offered to Krishna, or chanting Krishna's holy name, or eating Krishna prasad, it's cleansing our consciousness from lust, greed, envy, pride, illusion, and all of those things. And thus Maya's influence becomes less on us. And the more intensity of Krishna consciousness in our life, the lack of Maya's influence in our life. Just like the more intensity of the light in the room, the more brightness, and the less intensity, the more darkness, right? So similarly, Maya is like darkness, Krishna is like light. So where there is light, there is no room for darkness. So by chanting Krishna's name, you're inviting Krishna. But it's not just chanting, it's also remembering Krishna. It's also connecting things in this world in connection with Krishna. That is also very, very important. That way, you're in Krishna consciousness, not just for 2 hours, 16 rounds, but as throughout the day, whenever you're conscious, it's the goal is to be Krishna conscious, not just money conscious or matter conscious or sex conscious, but be Krishna conscious. And with that Krishna consciousness, you can have children, you can make money, you can do anything that a common man does, but as a service to Krishna. The purpose is very, very clear. That purpose is important to understand. Why am I doing what am I doing? Why am I earning? Why am I fighting? Why am I desiring this? What is the purpose behind it? When the purpose is Krishna related, that purpose is spiritual. When the purpose is selfish or something that is material, that purpose is material. There's no good or bad, I'm saying. All I'm saying is spiritual or material. To Krishna, away from Krishna. Kapil, whenever possible, I had one query, Prabhuji. Please ask Kapil. Sanjeev, Prabhuji, chanting makes us Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Chanting makes us God, just devotees of Krishna. What are the steps you'd suggest to go in absolute Krishna consciousness? Chanting, hearing, and remembering Krishna. That's all. Not too hard. Yes, Kapil, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So this was a question I also asked. I'm not sure if it relates to the current Adhyay, but I'll still ask is because it has been imbibing since few days now, few weeks. So there is something that I'm truly passionate about, when it comes to, let's say, teaching. I've always been a teacher. My grandpa was a teacher. My mother is a teacher. I have the teaching capabilities. And over the past few months, I realized that when I started teaching, let's say, the youth of oops, sorry. When I started teaching, am I audible? Sorry,
Yes,
I
you're
got a call.
audible.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So I started teaching some of the certifications that I have done. I started teaching how to get jobs in this COVID situation based on my experience and so on. And I loved doing that. And that's something that I have as an inner calling. But at the same time, I work here. There are a lot of family responsibilities. My wife is going through some treatments, which is expensive here in US. So I cannot forget that all of a sudden and just leave my job and start it. But how do I transition to my inner calling slowly and steadily? And what is your advice on that? Is this really the true calling, or am I just assuming that? So I'm trying to figure that out. But I truly love what that teaching is, for sure. So, but thank you for this opportunity to ask a question.
Sure. Thank you for asking such a wonderful question. So it is important to understand that you have this desire. Now, whether it is this or that, let's not analyze that. You have this desire to teach, and that's something you feel is your psychophysical nature. And it's a Brahmanical nature, right? Now, having said that, you cannot change your life suddenly. I understand that. And I'll tell you the same thing. This is nothing in Bhagavad Gita. I'm just telling you what I talk about entrepreneurship generally, is spend a little bit every day towards your passion. So if it is 2 hours, if it is 1 hour, whether it's lunchtime or coming back home from work, and you just dedicate a sacred time to just doing that you're passionate about. And eventually, when that passion becomes profitable, right, then you can see. So again, the formula I give is make sure you're getting 30% of your salary through this profitable passion. And that's when you know that you can potentially go more, spend more time with your passion, and then make that 30% into 100% or more. And that way transition out of your current scenario and go to a passionate profession that you feel you are meant to be. And that's your inner calling, right? So little by little every day. I understand your wife is sick and there's a lot going on, but um, time doesn't wait for anyone. Today you're young. Today you have this ability, and when you give things like, "Oh, I'll do it tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow," one day you'll be 50 years, 60 years, 70 years old, and you'll be like, "I wish, I wish, I wish. I don't have the body or the energy for it." Right? And you would always have that regret, and you would blame your wife's health or whatever else. That won't help. Yeah? Rather do it now, but have a sacred time. Just like there's time for chanting, there's time for work, there's time for sleep, there's time for eating, there's also time for your passion. Makes sense? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was very, very helpful. Thank you.
Most welcome. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
And
Adding
Hari,
to
you had a question related to that, correct?
yeah. So adding to Kapil's question, my question was, what exactly is it calling, and how to realize that it's actually your calling or not, or you are just programmed by the marketing and you are just thinking that
I'll
it's
let
your
Kapil
calling.
answer that. So, Kapil, what is the calling? How do you know?
Uh, I would say the sense of happiness, it is like inside out. There is no focus on what am I getting out of it. It is like I just feel at peace, at calm when I do that, and it's the child within me is awakened. Is how I call as calling when I do something. Yeah.
So basically, I'll tell you, Hari, for me, marketing is one of those things that I really enjoyed doing. And as an engineer, I didn't even know what marketing was. But my mentor, who was the temple president of ISKCON Chicago, he had me do all these marketing things for Krishna. So pulling in students for preaching programs or even ISKCON Chicago's. So I would love doing that. And after doing 8 businesses, I realized it's not product development, which I am good at, but it's more the marketing and the branding aspect that I'm really gifted by Krishna. And I started getting, these invitations to teach at top colleges. And I'm like, how am I teaching at IIMs and US universities about marketing when I have never done a single course in my life on marketing? And that's what it is, right? Because you enjoy it so much. It's there. It's a gift from Krishna. And for somebody else, it might take a lot of effort to do something. Whereas for you, it comes naturally. Like singing for some people, they just naturally gifted. And whereas somebody else is doing riyas for so many years, still they don't get to that point where for somebody who's naturally gifted can, with little effort, get there. And sometimes we don't know we have these gifts from Krishna unless we expose ourselves to variety of things, right? And I was fortunate enough to be connected to ISKCON and be connected to student organizations and do a variety of things where I found that even though an introvert, I'm really good at understanding people and psychology and what makes them make decisions. And based on that basis allows me to do marketing. So I know what to write, what pictures to use, how to get people to take action, right? And that is good. And when you see the progress, it inspires you. And that is the passion. At least that's how I have experienced passion. I'm sure Kapil can say the same thing. He's teaching on YouTube all these wonderful things, and he feels happy that what people are appreciating this, and that's what it is. So, and at your age, Harry, it would you're 21, right? So you still have time, to experience a lot of different things. You do videos, you might be doing something else. You might be doing something else, and Krishna will reveal it to you. Pray to Krishna that, my dear Krishna, whatever my path is, allow me to find that path. What is it that I'm meant to do? How am I meant to serve you? What is my gift that you have given me? And it's also my duty as a mentor to watch you, to notice you, to work with you, and guide you, because that's what in the gurukuls what would happen, that the teacher from age of 5 to age of 25 would there be the same teacher, the guru and his wife, would be training these students, and they would watch the psychophysical nature, and based on that say, your psychophysical nature is more Vaishya, your psychophysical is more Brahminical or more Shudra like, so you take jobs that are physical or entertainment, and you take jobs that are more this direction. My spiritual master told me, Avelo, you're more a combination of Vaishya and Kshatriya. Even though I'm born in a Brahmana family, I don't feel like a Brahmana. I'm not the kind who would do arati on the altar, kind of, rituals and all of that, blow the conch. That's not me. I am more of the Kshatriya Vaishya mix, leadership, making money, building products, creatively solving problems, entrepreneurship. That's who I am. So my spiritual master was very kind in pointing that out to me. So it's also my role in one way, whatever. I'm not your spiritual master or anything like that. I'm just an elder brother to you. But it's my job also to kind of observe you and eventually tell you, Harry, this is what might be good for you. And for that, you have to reveal your heart to me. You have to share with me what is going on, what are the various things you're doing, where you find happiness, where you find difficulties. And that way I'll get to know your nature. I don't have 5 years to 25 years with you. I get to meet you once a month or so, but that's how we figure it out. Does it make sense?
Perfectly, Prabhuji. Thanks for that.
Most welcome. Okay. Any other questions? Oh wow, 5 different things. Okay. Same, Divyanshu Bhati. Same question, sir. Thanks, Kapil Prabhuji. Okay. Saikat Sahu, is there any marketing book based on Bhagavad Gita? I not that I know of marketing book based on Bhagavad Gita. Maybe I should write one. Sohel Mehta is saying, sorry, Prabhu, I have to drop. Okay, all right. Where are we? Back to okay. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, giving up all sense of proprietorship over possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. Right? So when we work for Krishna, we are not affected by sinful reactions. And this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Because Arjuna is scared. Oh, I'm going to kill so many people. There's 300 million people on the other side. It's like the entire population of America is on the other side, on the Kauravas side, right? And he has to, the Pandavas have to kill them to win. And he's like, oh my God, so many. In the first chapter, Arjun says one of the reasons why he doesn't want to fight is so many widows, so many women will be left, unprotected. So many kids would be without their father. Why fight this war? And that is a completely, um, you know, so-called good thing to say in a situation like anti-war. Every educated human being would say, do not be in a war. War is the worst thing you can do. But here Krishna is saying you should fight. And this is a dharma yuddha. You have to understand that it's not just war for oil, war for land, and this and that. It's a dharma yuddha. A woman has been insulted, stripped naked. The persons who are actually rightful owners of the land have been unfairly banished for 13 years, has been unfairly removed from anything that their inheritance is supposed to be. How would they live? So it's a survival war. It's a war of survival. It's a war of dharma yuddha, right? So in that war, when Arjuna is hesitant to kill these people who are his relatives, that, oh my God, so much karma, Krishna is saying that thus working, he is not affected by the sinful reaction. So even though Arjuna is going to kill thousands and thousands of people, he will not get any pop, any sinful reaction. Because why? Krishna is saying how to act in that situation. That when your mind and intelligence is perfectly controlled, giving up sense of proprietorship, you're not fighting for yourself, you're fighting for a higher purpose. Acts only for the bare necessities of life. It's a necessity of life for Arjun, for the Pandavas, to have a place to rule. They wanted 5 villages. Said, okay, don't give us the whole world. Give us 5 villages. No, I will not give you even that much land that can be held on top of a needle. A needle, right? Top of a needle. How much land can be? That's what Duryodhana is saying. Not even that much land we will give you. So it's a bare necessity of life for the Pandavas is having a place to rule. They're Kshatriyas. And thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. So Krishna is telling Arjun, don't worry, fighting this war is for the right reasons, with the mind controls in place. You should not be getting sinful reactions for killing so many people. Okay. Text 22. He who is satisfied with gain, which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. So, such a Mahatma who has these qualities is not worried about success or failure. It's not worried, but rather steady in both success and failure. And this is an amazing quality for an entrepreneur. I was just reading on, I think, one of the Your Story or something, this lady, a female entrepreneur, who failed in her business where she lost 10 lakhs. And then she tried again, and now her business is having 100 plus employees and several crores in revenue, right? So steady in success and failure. This is a very important aspect of our lives as individuals, especially as entrepreneurs. It's because there's going to be so many failures, so many rejections, so many people laughing at us, right? But we have to just pick ourselves up and keep going. Pick ourselves up, keep going. Pick ourselves up, keep going. And this is also a Krishna conscious principle, because you will notice that although you're trying to control your mind and senses, you're trying to eat the right things and do the right thing, sometimes the mind takes over and you do something very, very silly, very stupid. You break some of the regulative principles. It happens, right? Oh, I fell in, that was a moment, and a moment of weakness, and I did something. Okay, pick yourself up and keep going towards Krishna. Don't be like, oh, now Krishna will be angry with me. Krishna's never angry with anyone. I mean, unless you're really a monster, which none of us are, right? So, I mean, Krishna was angry at Shishupal, and he cut off his head after 100 abuses to Krishna. It's like, okay, I promised your mother that I'll take 100 offenses from you. 100 offenses over. Now here's my Sudarshan Chakra, and there is your neck. Done. But generally speaking, Krishna is extremely loving for a devotee who's trying to become Krishna conscious. And in that trying process, you will fail. When I was trying to convert from meat eating to vegetarianism, I don't know, I failed like 4 to 5 times. 3 times I know for a fact, 1 month, and then, oh, that chicken is so good. And I just went for it. And at my university, we would have like massive arrangement for food. Practically everything you want, from pizza to everything. It's like everything is there. So, I failed. And eventually I was like, okay, Krishna, this time I'm completely, going to stick to my vegetarian diet. And I did. And eventually I did garlic, eventually coffee and tea and caffeine, which I was never into anyway. But the point is, was step by step. And did falters happen? Yes. Have I been in events where they said, oh, there's no onion garlic in this food, and they perfectly put onion garlic right there? I can see it. Yes. So, things have happened, and I don't get more of, oh my God, I'm an initiated devotee, I'm preaching Bhagavad Gita, and here goes onion in my mouth. Now what will happen to me? I just say, oh Krishna, I'm so sorry this happened. What to do? This is a situation. Let me make sure that this doesn't happen again, and I keep going and I keep going. So it's very that way. It's not like, no, it's also not right to just keep making the same mistakes and be like, okay, I'll just keep going. No, we try every time to reduce the mistakes and not to repeat it. But in that process of sincere effort, there might be some downfalls, and we just keep going. Same thing with business. We make mistakes. We try to not repeat those mistakes, and we keep moving forward, keep progressing in our life. So what to study in both success and failure is never entangled. That means never entangled with either success or failure. Oh, why didn't I succeed? Oh, how could I fail? Why this? My pride, like I'm so and so. How could I make this mistake? No, you don't beat yourself up. You just keep going. So that's what moving on is. Breakups. One of the biggest things that young people struggle with is breakups, heartbreaks. If whether it's boy-girl breakup, or parents die, or a dog dies, or something, right? Somehow your heart is broken. And learning to move on is also a big part of being the steadiness aspect, right? So moving on comes from this detached mentality that, okay, I have had my time. I got what I wanted, and now it's time for to move on. Now, of course, you will cry. It's not like you're made of stone. No, but it's it's not going to cripple you. It's not going to stop you from performing. It's not going to stop you from doing your duty, right? You lose a job, let's say, God forbid. But these things happen. But that doesn't mean it cripples you. You're strong enough on spiritual foundation that you can steadily keep doing all your responsibilities and duties that you need to do. Okay, before I go to 23, I will see the questions you guys are putting in there. Harry is saying, I'm a vegan now. Wow, congratulations. You'll be losing weight. Shaikat is saying, I want to understand my psychological nature, how to contact ISKCON. Hello, Shaikat, I'm here. You're already in touch. Prayash, so Shaikat, allow me some time to get to know you better. It takes both sides. You have to reveal your heart, and I have to also, observe you. That's how we get to know each other, like any relationship. Prayash, how can devotee eat in restaurants? Devotees can do anything, but should you do it? That's a choice. And use your common sense, Prayash. What kind of restaurant and whatnot. Use your common sense. I'm not going to tell you this, right? Because Krishna doesn't do that. He doesn't tell us what to do. He just tells us the principles. And it is up to us. If I'm going to a place where they're selling chicken, mutton, fish, and all that, is there a probability that in the kitchen, when they're making vegetarian food, they might be using the same oil for frying fish and frying the same vegetables? Probably, likely, right? But in certain situations, you might not have the option. So, okay, in certain situations, you might have the option. And that's also okay. So it's your choice. It's your intelligence, really. It's your common sense. I won't tell you what to do. Divyan Shubhati. Why eating onion garlic considered sin? Again, let's not get into this sin and punya pap and all of this. That has really ruined Hinduism in a very bad way. Let's talk about the choice and the outcome. When you eat onion garlic, you feel rajasic bhav. That means the urge for sex desire, the urge for anger, the urge for mental instability. Uh, all of these are very, very strong. When you have sattvic ahar, sattvic diet, you're more balanced, you're more calm, you can make decisions in a thoughtful way. You're more impulsive when you're on high caffeine, where on high onion garlic diet. You're much more impulsive. I want to do it, I want to do it now. And you don't think, you act. Sattvic diet allows you to think and then act. As a result, you're thinking long term. You're thinking what is best for me and my Krishna consciousness. You're thinking what is best for my career, my life, versus abhi to kar lete, baad mein dekha jayega, jo hoga dekha jayega. That's a very much a rajasic mentality, right? A passionate mentality, which is like, I don't care about what's going to happen. My mind wants it and I'm going to do it now. That's what children do. I'm hungry. I want this now. I want a balloon. I want it now, or else I'm going to start crying. Adults, mature people, should learn to be mature. And our diet has a lot to do if we act like an adult or we act like a child, right? Regardless of the age of the body, we can be acting in various ways. Divyansu, Rajasic, yes. Harry is saying, wow, that's a great point, Sattvic diet, yes. Amit says, I have a question, Prabhu. Amit, you don't have to save a question. You can just ask the question.
So, Hare Krishna Prabhu. So, I have a question. Like few days ago, my parents, like, there's a rat in my house. Okay, so they caught the rat and killed him, like killed the rat. So I asked, why do you guys kill the rat? You just can like give means
Get a
away.
mouse trap.
Yeah, mouse trap. But the thing is, they said no, ये बहुत problem कर रहा था, like room में, the rat is like.
What's your question?
So I asked them कि क्यों ऐसा किया आप लोग? तो बोले कि अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम करता है तो ऐसे मतलब कर सकते हैं. अर्जुन ने भी, like you said that इससे तो अर्जुन
Krishna
ने मारा
Govinda.
था तो
Arjun is surviving for us. You're not surviving against a rat. That is just so okay. Anybody who comes to our house to steal, we should kill them, right? That's not a good logic. Anyway, I am sure Amit, you can understand that's not a good logic, right? There is no substance to that logic.
yeah.
It's just you are a human being and you have strength, and a rat is a little animal and you have strength over it. So you're just enforcing your strength, just like a bully would, right? That's bullying. That's not compassion. We are known by our compassion. Even a lion or a tiger doesn't hunt unless they're hungry,
Yeah.
But we humans feel the need to destroy nature, to destroy other creations, regardless, just for fun. Hunting. Who does hunting? Any animal species you show us who does hunting for fun, we do it. In the Vedic period also we used to do hunting, but that was not for fun, that was for practice. The Kshatriyas would learn how to use their arrows and their their ammunitions by the process of hunting. That was why they would do it. Today we do hunting for, in America especially. Oh, there's too many deers. If we don't kill them, they're going to overpopulate. So we're saving them. They won't have enough grass to eat. Let God worry about them. Why are you worrying about it? No, we're going to shoot deers. Okay. So that's the human nature, and hopefully we don't become like that. Is that what you wanted to share, or was there a question hidden behind it, Amit?
No, it's okay. That is the problem. Like I asked them and they answered like this, so I was also amazed by that answer. So, but
Yeah.
one more thing is that I sometimes live alone in a room and I cook by myself. But in Sattvic food, I was watching a video that if we cook something completely vegetarian and we put it on a fridge and eat next day, that is also a rajasic nature. That food is also in a rajasic
That's
nature.
why you offer it to Krishna. So it's prasadam, and prasadam can be put in a fridge. And so, yeah, so it is said after 3 hours of cooking the food starts rotting. Now, that is in the olden age. Fridge wasn't there, and food starts rotting. So then it becomes, not good for health. It can become rajasic or even tamasic if it is rotten food. But if you offer it to Krishna, you can keep it in the fridge and it's okay. Prasadam never has any of those qualities. Prasadam is beyond Satvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. Prasad is Prasad. So you make sure you have a picture of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada and you offer to Krishna. Or if you have the Bhagavad Gita, you can just offer to picture of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada here. Right?
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhu, I have a question. Like I have read somewhere that like killing a snack is a good activity. They will be killed. They will be transferred to upper class of living entity like human birth or somewhere. So can you please put some torch on it?
Certain things you should not ask publicly, but anyway, what to do? So yes, so snakes, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj has said that because a person who's extremely envious is born as a snake, poisonous snake. So poisonous snake is something that can be beaten to death, because otherwise it can be a life-threatening situation for people, right? Um, so yeah, according to scriptures, you don't get bad karma of killing if you kill a snake, it is said. But that doesn't necessarily mean you go find snakes and try to kill them, right? If they come to your house or they attack you or something, yes, then it's okay to kill a snake or protect yourself and defend yourself. But that doesn't mean this gives us a license to kill. Does it make sense, Prabhu? So snakes, scorpions, all these poisonous creatures, all of them have that that they're envious people are told that they're born because there's so much poison and toxic nature they have, that they're born in such forms, and they are harmful to us, and to protect ourselves we can do such things. Okay. Sanjeev is asking, Prabhuji, job life is not good experience for many, but still need to keep going, assuming it's a service to Krishna. Is that correct understanding? You can always find a new job. Self-torture is not what, somehow or other we feel that if we are in difficulty, Krishna is happy. It's not true. If you're not enjoying your job, get skilled, right? Take courses and find something you love to do, and use that as an opportunity to serve Krishna. So it's not necessarily that the bad job that you have is the only way to serve Krishna. You can always upgrade yourself, right? Hope that answers your question, Sanjeev Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I got some ideas now. Thank you.
Okay, good. Hare Krishna. Kapil is saying, thank you, Prabhuji. Have a call in 6 minutes. So dropping to see you next Friday. See you next Friday. I'll be dropping off shortly too. Vibhuti, I have yet to bring Krishna home in form of idol or picture. Can you guide what should be brought to be in Mandir of House? Bring a picture of your local ISKCON temple. I'm sure you can find picture, or you can just print a picture from the web of Krishna. It's good to print a picture that is drawn by devotees, whether ISKCON or otherwise, because the picture would have a devotional element versus commercially available pictures. They don't depict Krishna in the most accurate form. For example, Srila Prabhupada, one time somebody drew a picture of Krishna in the clouds. And it was a very beautiful picture, but Prabhupada was not happy. He said, Krishna is never without his devotees. So Krishna is not there somewhere in the clouds without anyone. Krishna always has somebody with him. Either you'll find a peacock, or there's a cow, or a calf, or a parrot, or a gopi, or a gopa, or someone. Krishna is never, ever alone. So the beauty of getting a devotional picture is you will get an accurate picture of Krishna versus a picture that is commercial purposes. So go online and you can download a nice ISKCON Srimad Bhagavatam picture of Krishna and put it on your altar, and also put a picture of Srila Prabhupada, because Guru and Krishna always goes together. You access Krishna through his pure devotee. That way you can have a nice altar setting. If you ask me in Philosophy Friday group, I will send you a picture of my altar, and that way you can see how it is. Okay. Ritu Mataji is saying, what to do about idols of demigods inherited from family? I had the same problem. So what I was able to eventually do was put them in a nice bag and put them in a place that is, on a shelf. Sometimes you can even go to a holy place and give it to somebody or gift it to someone. So there are some ways to do that. Prayash is saying, do Shiva devotees go back to Shiva in Shiva Loka? If they're thinking of Lord Shiva at the time of death, yes. If they're Shiv Bhakt only for the ganja, then they go to some other place. Definitely not Shiv Loka. Somehow there's a misconception because they think Lord Shiva is high on ganja and whatnot. Lord Shiva could hold the entire poison in his neck, Leel Kantha. He's not a common person, and if you try to follow him, then it's very difficult. But yeah, if you can think of Lord Shiva in a devotional way, you will be where he is. Okay, good. Lot of questions. Time is also over, so I wouldn't go beyond this. We'll end here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Thank
Hare
you so much.
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.